welcome back to another Ross Reviews, where today we're in a Maserati GranTurismo S Auto. And just have a look at this car. 4.7 naturally aspirated V8. Ooh, the noise of this car. This thing is going to be fun. Not on the bonnet, this does have the Ferrari Maserati 4.7 liter naturally aspirated V8. And this thing pushes around 440 horsepower, about 361 pound-foot of torque. And mate, this thing, it sounds bloody awesome. And this Maserati looks bloody awesome as well, I have to admit. Now, just coming around some of these tight hairpins here, you do have a 6-speed ZF gearbox in this, which, funny enough, this thing should be basically exactly the same gearbox that's in the F6s. And you can push it over. You got a Tiptronic mode. We also have flappy paddles on here, and they're mounted to the column exactly how you want it. And you come around these corners. It does have adaptive dampers when you put it in sport mode. A ZF, man, it's quick to change. The paddles are pretty responsive here. And man, that note out the back, it is nice. And just coming around some of these corners, like this thing, for a big, heavy GT car, this thing weighs almost 1.9 tons, and we do have a fully loaded car, so we're probably pushing the 2 tons. Like, it handles really well. You know, the steering, it is actually a little bit light, but it feels pretty damn sharp. You know exactly what those wheels, there's not much play in the wheel. We've got those big 20-inch wheels, 6-pot Brembos up front, 4-pot in the rear. Really need that stopping power in this big heavy vehicle. You come around these corners, you downshift, you get on it. And man, it drives really well. Yeah, this car definitely goes well. Now, these GranTurismos were first shown in 2007, and they were carried through up until 2019, and that was quite a long time because these cars actually set the record for the most quickly developed car in the entire auto industry, because from design, development, production out the door was all done in 9 months. And why was the big rush? Well, apparently Ferrari had a look at the designs of this thing and decided to copycat it with the California, apparently. And you got to admit, there is a little bit of a resemblance there. Baby. Now, this GranTurismo is a Pininfarina design, and you look at this thing, that the gills on the side of it, like the body lines, just how long this car is, it is really beautiful. The front end, you've got that Trident logo, which I absolutely love, and it's actually just a really good looking car, because Maserati has made some questionable designs, I'm not gonna lie, and this has always been the one I feel like you had to have bought, the GranTurismo. And the only other ones I've really loved was, of course, the MC12, and most recently the MC20. That one really is a looker as well. And just hearing a bit of sound out of this thing. Yep, we're lucky we got big Brembos up front, and oh, even the downshifts. It's really responsive. You know, I kind of find it hard to believe because they did make the other version with the other transmission that had that F1 Ferrari gearbox that was, you know, in the 430 Scuderia. This gearbox is phenomenal. I don't really know, like, I'd love to compare it with another one, but you can't complain at all with the shift speed here and just the smoothness of the box. The ZF is just phenomenal. And weirdly enough, if you did get the other model with the transmission, they had a different exhaust system. So these ones, they were a little bit more tamer. This is more of a daily GranTurismo, I would call it, over the other one, which was probably a little bit more track focused. This one, you do get a really nice note still out of this car. And when you hit 3,000 RPM, the valves are supposed to open up. And man, it really is a joy to send it in this thing. Now, brand new, these Maseratis were not cheap. These were really the flagship car, and it was gonna cost you 345 grand to get in one, starting. Yeah, that's a huge amount of money. And, you know, look, it's a beautiful car. You got that glorious engine, the sound. But nowadays on the used market, you can really pick these things up for a bit of a bargain because they're gonna be going for around that 80 to 120 grand. And honestly, for a car that I think now they don't make it anymore, these are really beautiful. They're a Pininfarina design. You got that sound, the 4.7 up front. It's actually not a bad deal. And on the inside of this Maserati, look, that's always where people have their most complaints. And, you know, you can't complain about a few things in here. You know, it is an old infotainment system. There are a few little bits of cheap plastic around it. But at the end of the day, there is some really nice carbon fiber. I do like the Maserati clock that's up here. You know, the wheel does look old, but, you know, it feels nice in the hands. The paddles work really well. And I absolutely love this roof lining. You know, it's black, it's a suede, really gives it a premium feel. Seats are comfortable. And you can actually fit 4 people in this car reasonably well. We've got 2 very tall blokes in the back right now, and they're back there, there's no complaints. So, you know, for a 2+2 GT car, this really is quite practical. Now, obviously, when it is in sport mode, you do feel all the bumps. You know, you got those big 20-inch wheels. Oh yeah, and man, it's just really compliant. The steering, it is a little bit light again, but you know exactly what those wheels are doing, and it is quite sharp. It's just, would have liked a little bit more feedback in it. And when we just take it out of sport mode here, you know, the car really does settle down, the throttle relaxes, the adaptive dampers, we've got that Sky Hook tech, and it does soften up in here. You know, it's not harsh. Even in sport mode, I wouldn't call it harsh. Definitely is firm, but that's what you want from a car like this when you're sending it. Now, if you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button and click the bell notification so you do get updated on all our weekly uploads, and listen to that soundtrack. Man, this thing is sweet. Now, 0 to 100, guys, we are pulling up on this back road here. These things, I believe, with the ZF automatic here, were claimed around that 4.9, 5-second range. Now, I don't believe these have launch control, I guess being a GT car. So we're just going to leave it in sport mode, in auto, and just build the revs up a little bit and see what we get. So we're going to reset the draggy. Bear in mind, we do have a full car, and this thing is probably pushing about 2 tons, but here we go. Oh, almost got a little bit squirrely. There we go, and man, it sounds good. And it even did actually feel like it started to spin just slightly right as we hit the pedal, but let's have a look at that time. Now 0 to 100, guys, was done in 5.7 seconds on the Draggy. We did have a little bit of tire slip there. It has been a bit of a damp morning, and we do have a full car here. So there are 4 people in this Maserati right now. So we do have to give it a bit of a break there. Now I'm going to finish the video off here today, guys. So a huge, huge thank you to the owner for bringing down his Maserati GranTurismo S Auto, because, mate, this car, absolutely beautiful. That 4.7 V8 soundtrack, just spot on, and this was really nice to see up close and personal. So I hope you guys did really enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, consider subscribing if you're new here, and we'll see you on that next video.